Today, we'll take a look at calls to remove Jesus, his mother, and his friends. A bit of truth serum, if you will. More desecration of statues. So let's get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Black Spring. And today we will take a look at the removal of Jesus, his mother, and his friends at the call of a BLM ideologue. We'll have a bit of truth juice from a pastor. More on the desecration of statues and monuments around the country. I'd like to thank everyone for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. And we will get started. All right, thanks so much, guys. Welcome to Black Spring. And if you will be sure to hit the like button and be sure that you are still subscribed. And if you really want to throw caution to the wind, if you will share for the Channelytics. And first, I'd also like to take an opportunity to thank you, the patrons, as well as the subscribers. Hope everybody is doing well on this Wednesday. A lot to get in today, per usual, and hope you guys are well. So, but as I said, we will take a moment just to recognize our loyal patrons. Now, if you're looking for content, fairly warm receptions or super warm receptions, check out Derek C. Williams, Killer Whale Channels, The Angel Munez Variety Show, Definition of Anarchy, Sandy K, and Chrysler Imperial H. Now, these are all loyal patrons as well as subscribers of the channel. So you might want to take a look around, get to know them, and hey, you might just find a kindred spirit or something that speaks to you. I'd like to do a shout out to Chrysler Imperial H. Thank you so much for all that you do. Shout out to the Minister of Music, Terrence Trower. Shout out to Gary L. Youngkeese Jr. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you guys are doing well. As I said, we're definitely not short of things going on. So what I'd like to just start out with is, of course, just it seems like every day there's more of an expansion on the former or what you've seen the previous day. It just becomes more radical, or you continue to get more ideologues, or more, see more of the BLM faction. Well, we are seeing the enclaves of dramatic and radical theater and plays on the oppression from the past. It's a little bit antithetical from those images of the past, but you are seeing, this is, if you're familiar with Saul Alinsky, these are, a lot of what you're seeing is just straight out of that book. And we're seeing, of course, the desecration of American culture, a complete disregard for law and order. And it's embossed here again by ideologues and avowed Marxists. So the other part that I would like to a little bit preface or open up with is just, meanwhile, we've all been taking part in this, what I think of as more of a huge social experiment in history. Now, I'm saying it's a byproduct of the COVID-19 or the pandemic, this wave, this lull, the wave, lull, wave, however you want to, you can find a lot of shaping in that. But, if you consider, as the lockdowns ease and restrictions are lifted, or the lockdowns are lifted, your surroundings look familiar, but you begin to see more people and more people. Or does it appear to be more people than before the lockdowns, more than usual? I mean, at times you might even be more inconvenienced by this newfound freedom, or this reinstatement of freedom. Your parking lots are full. You have these 6 feet lines wrapped around buildings. I mean, is that what they mean by the new norm? But it's definitely I consider it to be a bit of a social experiment. And the thing about the mask in itself is, when you remove this mask, it's almost like it's a portal between the old world and this new paradigm. But we're still not quite sure. The full focus of this new paradigm it's not quite clear. And then some people say, but maybe, is it inevitable? I mean, is it futile to resist? And we've talked about this before. Who's really in control here? We have laws, we have institutions, we have all of these things, but whose rules are we playing by right now? And by the time we remove these masks, what will it resemble anything? I mean, I do think that we're setting that there's precedents being set right now. I mean, what are the national response to this? I find that there's a lot of silence. There's a lot of silence, and it's not just coming from the left. It's a bipartisan silence. Majority, it's vastly bipartisan. I mean, I've seen how many, I'm saying, for my taste, I haven't seen enough conservative or Republicans come out and say this is unacceptable. Of course, it's deafening on the left. I haven't heard much from them. The person that seems to be on the front line is President Trump. It seems he's the only one that's speaking, that's making an official. He's going on record as speaking out about the destruction, the looting, the rioting, the protesters, the conflation. There's a huge conflation there between the rioter versus the protester. That's huge. And so that's the thing about it. That's what I mean. I will come to your comments just a second, but it's like, I mean, is it inevitable? 4 more years, 8 more years. We've you know, we have state governors. These are elected governors. We have leaders in place, people that are in the position of leadership. I mean, how much negotiation is required? And how do you what do you if this is some new precedent, how do you establish the guidelines for negotiation? I mean, is the ballot box the cure? You know, vote for this person, vote for that person, vote for this person. How did we get here? We didn't get here overnight. I mean, I'm saying that, you know, this is what appears to be a Marxist revolution that honors no rules of engagement, no institutions, no truth, no history, no policy. Just repeat after me. Black lives. You know the rest. Now, I would like to offer a clip, but before I do that, I would like to recognize everybody in the stream. And thanks so much. Shout out to Derek C. Williams for sharing it out. Thank you for throwing that caution to the wind, Derek C. Williams. I really appreciate it. Shout out to Being Mary Gail. Nice to see you. Thank you so much for coming in. And thank you so much. Gary L. Youngkees Jr. said, Mr. Obama talked about change while he was in the White House. Change will happen. Bank on it. Dialectic Camille, bonjour. How are you? Ça va? See, Chrysler Imperial says trying to strip American history out of the textbooks and writing their own history to suit them, and the heck with everybody else and their history. Nice to see you, Minister of Music Terrence Trower. Nice to see you. Okay, so, you know, I'm going to, and there again, I may just say this. This is another, here's more. We're back to housekeeping here. So just make sure that you are still subscribed to the channel. I will tell you, I have found this issue even in my own community activity, that people that I know I've subscribed to, that I've been subscribed to over a year, I find myself having to resubscribe. So I'm just thinking, you know, I know it sounds a little bit torturous that I'm saying, oh yeah, make sure you're subscribed, you know, and hit the subscribe button, or, you know, it's about Channelytics, but it's also about the communication here. And I will do the same on your guys' channels. I will make sure that I am still subscribed. So I'm going to keep doing, let me do a couple more shout outs here. Yeah, so I would take you to a clip, and this is going to be a response to some of the things that I'm talking about. Shout out to you, Gary L. Youngkees. He says, those leadership whom are governors, mayors, and others seek to change America. That's exactly what this is. You know, and many people just keep on, they just want to keep, oh, it's about race. They insist that it's only about race. I just, you know, it's a tool. The division is by design about race. They know they can divide this country by race. They've tried it before, but I think even more than that, it's a class struggle. It's a class division. I think that even it's more of a class division, because when you get to, if you go to the class is even, you have an even wider scope on the class structure. I mean, that's what you have. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. And I have a comment here from Gary L. Youngkees Jr. Gary says, always keeping up on my house cleaning. It's important, right? It's important. It's important all around. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and take you to a clip. Now here, I'm going to bring you, this is a clip from Dr. Carson, Dr. Ben Carson. Of course, Dr. Carson has received all kinds of scrutiny, and it's pretty unimaginable the way that he's been attacked by the left and attacked even from the community. It's disgusting, actually, is what it is. I mean, yeah, let me just go ahead and get to that. So I'd like to thank everybody for being here. I really appreciate you guys coming in. And I hope your Wednesday is off to a positive start. And let's see, I hope you're off to a positive start. So we'll do just a bit of this clip, and then we'll come back into the stream for sure. So just 1 second, and we'll be ready to share this one. Okay. So, but I will tell you, I do think that things are not getting better on the streets. And I think that's very sad. I think many people, depending on where you are, and, people say, oh, don't make it political. Well, we are divided. We are divided. Okay. We can go for a couple of different divisions. We were divided by class. This person makes 20,000. This person makes 40,000. This person makes 60,000. This person makes 80,000. This person makes 100,000. Okay, you got that division. Then you got the race. Okay, and then you've got all of these. This whole spectrum of division, and then you've got the political division. And of course, you're going to have somebody that's going to weaponize or use one of these to whatever for their political, whatever's most expedient for their cause. I mean, this is the nastiest. This is going to be the nastiest election season, the nastiest cultural attack in history. I really believe it's going to be judged. It's going to be judged by history, and it's not going to be. And it's going to be the division is going to be there. You can't deny that. Okay, so we're going to one of the Capitol Hill, going to the Capitol Hill Occupy situations. Thanks so much, guys, for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn.
In Washington, D.C., just one day after President Trump threatened force against any protesters attempting to establish an autonomous zone in the nation's capital. In Atlanta, armed protesters near the Wendy's, where Rayshard Brooks was killed, are setting up roadblocks to keep cops away. It comes as the Senate gears up to vote today on sweeping police reform legislation. But the vote is in jeopardy as Congress clashes over how to address nationwide demand for change. Joining me right now is the U.S. Housing and Urban Development Secretary, Ben Carson. Dr. Carson, it's great to see you. Secretary, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you. Always good to be with you, Maria.
So incredible moment in time. As I said to the AG the other day, we've got massive protests everywhere, these autonomous zones being protected with men and women with guns in our own cities. What are you going to do as an official, government official, in terms of bringing law and order back?
Well, it's obviously very important that we do have law and order and that people feel safe. You know, one of the reasons that people pay their taxes is so that they will have protection of their personal well-being, their homes, their businesses. And when the government officials fail to do that, they're breaking a contract with the people. And you allow this kind of anarchy to continue. That's not who we are. And a lot of it has to do with people always putting their finger up in the air and seeing which way the wind is blowing, rather than doing what is right. And if we continue to allow anarchy, it will only spread. So whether you're Democrat or Republican official, mayor, governor, you have an obligation to the people who elected you. Remember that. You have no obligation to a party or to an ideology.
Yeah, I mean, there are people that are living in CHOP the Capitol Hill organized protest area, that they don't want all of this around their homes. So people's rights are being impacted and their property is being destroyed. So something's got to be done. I know the AG said this can't go on indefinitely, but what is the answer, Secretary? Is it suing the mayor? Is it challenging the city? I mean, what can you do?
Well, you may be a little surprised at my answer, but the answer lies in each one of us. Those of us who actually love this country, love the freedoms that we have, want to pass this on to our children, are going to have to stop being quiet. We have to stop getting in the corner and hoping that nobody notices us so that they won't call us a name. And, you know, the reason that this is the land of the free is because it's the home of the brave. You've got to be brave. You got to stand up for what you believe in. Otherwise, it will be taken away from you.
Yeah, well, certainly it's a very dangerous moment in time right now. Secretary, nearly 46 million Americans now out of work as a result of the coronavirus shutdowns beginning back in March. Do you predict this pandemic will worsen the affordable housing crisis? Where are we on the housing crisis, which you've been trying to combat for so long? Where is the availability of housing for those who need it?
Well, interestingly enough, you know, this may be an opportunity. Interesting.
All right, I'd like to thank everyone for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. And the thing that I will say, I guess it's kind of echoing what Dr. Carson was saying, was that it is uncomfortable, but how do you get to uncomfortable? You don't get uncomfortable unless you are passive. You're passive and you allow so many things to go through. You allow things to get through in order to become uncomfortable. When the approach comes in, or when the approach begins, that's the time to change or to stop or to plug the hole or to plug whatever to mitigate the situation before it becomes uncomfortable. I mean, I think everybody, you're going to be uncomfortable. People are already politically uncomfortable. You have people, oh, they opt out, say, oh, I don't get into politics, as if that's that kind of put your finger in the wind and see which way. Let me figure out which way this person stands on this, because they're not going to just outright take, even if they know the difference between right and wrong, they're still not going to speak out and say, well, that's just simply you're not doing the right thing. No matter which, you're not doing the right thing. Okay. And then you're going to be culturally with, the protest. Okay. That's all been infiltrated. It's been infiltrated with rioting and looting and who knows by now. And I say mutiny that we've seen, but I want to show you an example of that. And for the definition of anarchy, if you're out there anywhere, for your definition of anarchy, where is the leadership? Where, if you're out there, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, because it does appear that we are leaderless in many ways. And when one person speaks out, he's the straw man, or the complete embodiment of racism, because he's speaking out, or he's saying, or, this is not going to be tolerated. This is a lawful nation. And you rarely hear anybody else talk about this. If anybody has any ideas on that, I'd love to know your thoughts on that. I'm going to, of course, open this up. I'd like to thank everybody for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. If you are out there and you're not sure if you're going to join us, I appreciate you for stopping by, honking the horn, whatever it is. If you are safely engaging, that's all that matters. But if there is a time that you are safe, or find a time when it's safe for you to, if you could hit the like button or the unlike button for the Channelytics. And as I said earlier, if you would like, you can always throw caution to the wind by sharing the stream. So I'd like to give you an example of what I consider mutiny. I consider this to be very disrespectful, and this is a bad precedence that we're setting. It's a bad, and people all over the world are watching the US. They are watching it. And whether we're free, whatever freedom means under your definition, we are, this is still the land of the free right now. Today it is. Do I know what do I think the time is ticking on it? I really do. I really do. And if we fail, if America fails, where will we go? I mean, a mask won't be the only thing that you'll be required to wear or you'll be required to adjust to. There will be more adjustments that you will be making in a less free society, or a society that's not even as free as you are, whatever your vanity, whatever you think. So without further ado, I will take you to, shout out to Derek C. Williams. Derek, nice to see you. You said you're in quiet mode. I thank you so much for coming in and making an entrance as you do. Very, very much your own entrance. Derek says anarchy literally means, quote, without ruler, end quote. The term has been bastardized. Point well taken. And thank you so much, Derek C. Williams, for sharing out the stream. So there you go. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And Gary L. Youngkey says, if leadership believes in anarchy, they will encourage such. That's a very interesting point, Gary L. Youngkey. I think that's very apropos. I think you've got a faction of this country that will accept, or they are ready to draw down to, we will negotiate with, whether it's domestic terrorist, or they're willing to negotiate. And I think that's I think you're right. I think many of these, these governors, specifically the Democrat governors, the blue states, I think they're the ones that are doing all the negotiations. They're the ones that are, complicit in silence. So I think they're very much, I think they believe in what's going on. And thank you so much for that point. Thank you for sharing that. And shout out to Derek C. Williams, who says, without a leader, of course, those who wishes to be left alone lead themselves. We've gotten away from what's termed, quote, rugged individualism. And Chrysler Imperial hits us with a we shall overcome someday. Chrysler, that's I tell you, I would hope so. Otherwise we're going to be the overcome. We're going to be, or some people would say, you've been overcame at this point. So I will take you to this. This is a clip that I have for you. Shout out to everybody that's in the stream. Thank you so much for joining me on this segment of Black Spring. I have to give a disclaimer on this one, and then I will try to give disclaimers regularly. But this is what you're saying. There will be some explicit language. Your viewer discretion is advised, and same goes for anyone in your surrounding. So here we are.
Fuck you! Fuck you! Deadass, I know you know I was coming from you.
Yeah, go to church on Sunday. You think, man, I'm glad I lost this actor. Praise God. You can't do both. You genuinely cannot do both.
Yeah, it's a little hard to be stone cold when she's right up in your face, right?
They don't have Facebook social staff. Not doing it. Stand in your piece.
The training.
There's got to be something better.
Those of you on the front line, put on your goggles, on your mask. It looks like the police officers are doing a little irritated. I would be irritated too if I had to stand out here all day and watch just be careful with them. Know that they will attack us. Water behind you, there's water that you think. You haven't thrown in all the more water, we have one. You feel uncomfortable? You want me to leave? You want me to stop harassing you? You want me to get out your face? Oh, exactly.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and there you were witnessing. I'm referring to that as some level of mutiny. I am, but that is pretty close to an assault. I would think that you have a citizen that close to your face, and there was this is a stare down. I mean, who does that? I mean, this is absolutely it's maniacal. It's militant. They have their people are touting and antagonizing these cops. And then you have somebody in the background screaming and yelling, those of you on the front lines. I mean, this is a militant mob, or, they consider themselves as a form of, as an arm or a soldier. I just, to me, this is what I'm talking about. For those this is an attractive faction for some people, for some young people that may have never been involved. That, some people might on social media might refer to them as keyboard. For a keyboard warrior, this is the perfect place, because everyone's, you notice that there's no one, let me take this back. Nobody's wearing a mask. No one seems to be consistently wearing a mask. Nobody's enforcing a mask. But hey, you can't go out here and everybody can't go to a church, or you can't go out here and do civil things, but you can intimidate cops and you can do whatever you want. I think that's a bad precedent. It's a horrible message. And this does not look like the United States. It really doesn't. I mean, we are in a storm of Marxist, and I think they're willing to do just about anything. But I don't know why they have not put a stop to this. I just don't. Shout out to Derek C. Williams says, so protesters are going to get killed. Police hold the cards. Oops, so-called. And Derek says, these masks that embolden these idiots. Masks don't block bullets and LRAD guns. No, they don't. I can see where you're coming from. So what I'm about to play something right now. I don't know how this is going to, I don't know what the technocrats are going to do, but I'm going to play this. If I get yanked, I will come back as soon as I can. But while I'm talking about all of this, while I'm on the subject of culture that is destructive, destroy America, the demoralization of America, I think this is very apropos. So we will go to the next clip. Shout out to everybody that's in the stream. Hope you guys are doing well on your Wednesday. And before I play this, whether you're religious or not, it seems that some people just have there's something special, that there's a calling, or there's something, and I'm not promoting any type of spirituality or religion or anything like that. But I do think that this is insightful, this clip that I'm going to play. And you may not be familiar with this particular figure. And he just goes right in. So I'm going to share this particular screen with you. Hope everybody's doing well. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. Now, just 1 second, slightly delayed here. Oh. Actually, what I'll do is I'm just a little bit behind here. Okay, so no, I'm not. Take that back. Thank you so much for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn.
Either there's going to be a revolution, Patrick Henry style, here in America, where red-blooded, God-fearing, Jesus-loving Americans are going to stand up and say, we're not going to take it no more. We're just not going to take it. And there's going to be riots in the streets, worse than the riots in South Central Los Angeles after they acquitted the cops that beat up Rodney King. You think that and that was black people rioting. You haven't seen anything. And I'm not advocating killing and murder and stealing and robbing. That's not what I'm advocating. I'm just telling you what people are going to do. People are sick of this. People are tired of the long-legged Mac Daddy, kicking them in the face every time he gets up, lying to them. Then you got a bunch of, suck-ups like the MSNBC News, ABC News, all these media types, everybody who's looking to be popular, get invited to the White House, sucking up to him all the time. It's sickening. I mean, it's downright sickening to watch this. You can get these white folk all riled up here. I'm going to tell you something. They're going to come in, the white folk get riled up, you know, they're going to, members of the NRA going to come into the black neighborhoods. I'm telling you. You know, the people are just tired of this. White people are being pushed around, kicked to the curb, having their rights denied, being called a racist, being walked on, watching their tax dollars go to fund all kind of drug sales, prostitution, illegal immigration. I mean, y'all gonna push these white folk till they can't take it no more. I'm telling you. You fool around here with Obama? You gonna let this long-legged Mac Daddy push these white folk? They gonna come up out of Tennessee and come up out of Oklahoma, come up out of Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, come up out of Oregon, and come out of Idaho, California. I'm telling y'all, you're pushing these white folk and you're pushing them. Your long-legged Mac Daddy's pushing them and pushing them and pushing them, and they're gonna get. Listen, you're gonna push people to the point where they're not gonna take it no more. These white folk are not going to take it. You're taking their tax money. You're closing down their jobs. You're shutting down their banks. You're telling them what they can and cannot do. You're giving billions of dollars to Acorn. You're taking their tax money and giving it to people to buy drugs. You're killing babies and you won't stop. You're telling lies and you're demoralizing our nation. You're destroying everything that has made this nation great. White folk getting ready to rise up. They don't want to take it no more. And I'm joining them. Oh, doggone it. I am. I mean, it's just an insult. It's one thing to have a president that you're okay, all right, he's Republican, you're a Democrat, he's Republican, you disagree on policy. But this man is destroying what God loves. He's destroying the fabric and the fiber of the nation. And he is a prolific, if you will, liar and killer and murderer. Spiritually, politically. I'm telling you, you're going to see an uprising in this nation. And it won't be long now. I mean, you just can't keep pushing folk the way Obama's pushing white folk and the way black folk are pushing white folk. You can't keep doing that. I'm telling y'all, you better find a way to either get rid of Obama or these folk are going to rise up at the sound of a bird. They're going to rise up. When the sound of the grinding is low, they're going to rise up when mourners go to their long home. Wherever the silver cord be loosened, or the golden bowl be broken, or the pitcher be broken at the fountain. I'm telling you, these people, white folk, they have had it. They've had it. And they can't take it no more. And who can blame them? I mean, who can blame them? To build this nation and then have it given away, just given away, just thrown away, just given away by a long-legged half-breed usurper.
All right. So, you know, I found this, I found his assertion more than interesting. And I do believe that he's got a lot of insight and he's got a lot of experience. I mean, he covered quite a bit. And I do believe there's a lot of, that's what I'm talking about. This is where I kind of coined it the, you know, I think when I was growing up, they used to say, oh, that when a person's, for lack of a better word, when they are inebriated or intoxicated, you know, that's the truth juice or the truth serum. So I'm just thinking, you know, that you got to feel some level of truth there, or there's a different vibration when you hear someone speak that way. Shout out to the definition of anarchy. And you know what? Just for kicks, I'm going to go ahead and open this up because we are in this is definitely a spirited time, and you're going to hear bold assertions and I don't know, the action that comes with it. Who knows what that looks like right now? Who knows? But shout out to the definition of anarchy. Thank you so much for coming in. I'm going to take this time to thank to thank our patrons. And yes, we have a new patron. We have a new patron. It's Little Miss Goth. Thank you so much, Little Miss Goth, if you're out there. So you guys could welcome Little Miss Goth or help me welcome her. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Shout out to her. Hope everybody's doing well in the stream and that you are off to a great week. So we have our patrons. Shout out to Derek C. Williams, Killer Whale Channels, the Angel Munez Variety Show, The Definition of Anarchy, Sandy K, Chrysler Imperial, and last and certainly not least, Little Miss Goth. Thank you so much. If you guys are looking for content creators, if you're looking for live streams, I'm pretty much with, I'm saying most, not all. These patrons go live. They are great sources, I think, for networking. They have strong and they have perspectives, and I think you'll be well received amongst these loyal patrons. So thank you guys so much. So with that said, I would like to take an opportunity to go through the stream and shout out to the people that are in the stream right now. I really appreciate you guys for coming in today on your Wednesday. We are midweek. As always, I hope everything is safe in your area. At least you are where you can see safety. If you are not. Okay. All right. So shout out to The Definition of Anarchy. Shout out to Derek C. Williams. Shout out to Gary L. Youngkeast. It's nice to see more of you in the stream. Appreciate your presence here. And as always, if you could like or unlike the stream for the Channelytics, shout out to Bonnie Rose. Shout out to Bonnie Rose. Let's see, what's this deal here? We have Chrysler Imperial 8. Shout out to you. Thank you for all you do. Shout out to the Minister of Music, Terrence Trower. Thank you so much for coming in. And shout out to Delacta Camille, and shout out to Being Marilyn Gale. I really appreciate it. Shout out to Brit's channel. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much, Derek C. Williams. So I have placed a link in the stream, but I'm going to continue. And also, if you guys will keep an eye on the community tab, because I managed to actually put, there is a poll out on the community tab. It's not to put anyone on the spot. It's just a way of, it's just a way of engaging and finding out what your interests are, or what your flexibility is. Do you have flexibility? And it'll be nice to know that you're available to come in for an extra stream. So if you'll take a look at that, well, I'm going to put a few things out right here, and then I'll continue in the cultural storm. Okay, so you will see some links in the stream. Also, I would say for those of you that are here, the patrons, you guys are free to drop your link in the stream. My personal thoughts on McKesson and Shackelford and them. Derek, I will tell you, I'm not familiar with probably all of them. I think that they are avowed Marxist. They have been, I will say, I think they've been training for this for a long time. I think they are going to, shout out to you, Mamito. Thank you so much for coming in. If you could hit that like button as you were coming in, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I think that I think that they are, as you've said, they are useful idiots. I do think that they are going to be, they will be useless once the goal is achieved. They will be useless. Shackelford, I think these people are complete narcissists. They're arrogant. I think they're very, on some level, I think there's a self-loathing involved in this, and the need to perpetuate the division that they're doing. They have to keep it going. I do think that the ultimate goal, they are just instrumental, I think, in destroying the values of the nation. If they can bring down our core, if they can bring down the core, and when I say that, I mean the First Amendment, if they can get rid of that, which we've got all these elements that are working on that. If they can eliminate the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, and that Second Amendment is really, you notice that there's, of course, I think Minneapolis had a shooting, I think, over the weekend, along with Chicago. So, I will say this, that the UN agenda, part of that is peace. That's another agenda. And in peace, they're going to try to disarm this nation. They are. And when they do, if they're ever successful at that, then I think it'll be lost, because the previous nations, or the previous regimes that were communist or socialist, they were successful. What was it? Mao, Hitler, Stalin, all of these, they were successful at. I see. Hang on a second. Da-da-da. Derek C. Williams, ladies and gentlemen, hardest working man, one of the hardest working content creators and hardest working contributors. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How you?
Still hanging around, Derek.
Bless you. Bless your heart. Yeah. I run with Black Spring with Autumn. She's very intelligent. Very impressed with her, the way she talked, the way she put stuff together. Smart. I ain't never went to college. So folks that go to college, the ones that use some common sense, I'm with them. Because you got a lot of folks go to college. Man, y'all waste y'all money. Y'all waste y'all money to go to school. They don't know nothing. Beautiful.
Derek, you are very astute. You're very astute, and I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. I will tell you, to speak to the college culture, I think, I think I learned more by my own volition. Without those influences, I never, I just think the college is more of a platform for, for more pompous people act out on their students in college settings. I mean, I'm an adjunct professor myself, but I try to let me give you this, and let me give you supplemental things, but you don't need to write me anything that reflects, you don't need to sound like me at the end of the day. You need to you got to make it your own, and it needs to be based on some level of truth, some level of history. When you leave here, you can pull things out of the midair. But it's a different thing. These sociology departments, these social sciences, they have done a number on these kids. And I'm telling you, it looks like a college campus. These streets that we see, these protests.
Yeah. Well, I know for myself, I only went to high school. I graduated May 31st of 1985 at T.L. Western High School. I've never set foot on a college campus, with the exception of when I was in the service. I was going to Norfolk State just to get girls. I have never set foot in a college room. I wouldn't know what it's like. I done been to the yard. I done been to plenty of step shows, but I've never actually been into a college setting. But I picked up my first book in 1987 called From the Browder Files by Anthony Browder. And I've been open ever since. So I've been reading strong since 1987. And when I see some of the people who have went to college for 4 years, like, man, y'all just sorry. Like, so I'm thinking, like, what did you learn? What did you learn? And then on top of that, you got to pay all that money, student loan debt. I tell my daughter, say, man, you go if you want to. You go if you want to. Say you better say your, because I'm not doing none of that, because I just don't see it. I just don't see it. But I was gonna talk about your because when I go live, I'm gonna mention it as well about Sean King talking about, say, like, go ahead and tear the statues down and stuff. I am an agnostic, which simply means I question religion. I don't doubt that there is something bigger than man, because atheists just flat out say, look, ain't no God. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't go that far. I don't know. Clarence Darrow famously said in his book, The Reason Why I'm an Agnostic, he says that I consider it a compliment to be called an agnostic. An agnostic is a person who professes to not know where many ignorant men are sure. That's all agnosticism is. So I would never say it's a higher power. I mean, that is not one. I don't know. I simply leave that question open. But I was raised in Mississippi. I was raised as a Methodist. And I'm saying all of this stuff. I'm saying all this stuff for this reason. If I was a Christian, I would have a serious problem with Sean King talking about ripping down any statues or any effigies that is of Jesus. Now, yes, it's true that the white man came and he whitewashed everything. He whitewashed everything. Can't nobody deny that. That is a matter of historical fact. But the fact that this guy want to come in and rip down religious statues and effigies, he talking about tear the murals down, break up stained glass windows with Jesus' picture. Now, I will agree to the fact that, yes, religion was used to tame the African. That's also a matter of historical fact. But the fact you're messing with my belief now, you're messing with what I hold dear. Now, what color he is, I don't know. And I'm going to say that when I go live Saturday. I don't know what color Jesus was. In fact, I've seen online over the years, they actually have referred to, you can look this up for yourself, Black Spring. They have actually referred to Jesus as the nigger from Nazareth. I've seen this online. That's what they've called this man. So, you got, and I'm saying all that to say this. Everybody argues over that, but the fact that he's supposed to have been the savior of the world, whites and blacks believe that, who are Christians. And you trying to destroy what's hold near and dear to their heart. Leave the Christians to believe what they want. The black Christians should, once again, the black Christians, they just some cowards. They're going to let this boy say this stuff and they not going to push back. Shout out to Pastor Manning for talking that hot stuff. I know who he is. All this land anointed, holy, Allah, over in New York City. I'm well aware of him. If you're a believer in the book, regardless of what the boy color is, can't none of y'all prove it. Either you believe in the tenets of Christianity or you don't. All right. So that's pretty much all I had to say with the Sean King. That boy, him, Shackelford, McKeeson, the Patrice woman, all of them, to me, they maniacs. They scared. I'm absolutely scared of them. They gonna get black people killed. They gonna get black people killed, and they white friends.
Well, I can share. I share a sentiment in which they are maniacal and they are extremely radical. And I don't know. Yeah,
I'm scared of them.
I think that they are. I think they're very dangerous. And I will say, but as radical, as maniacal as I think they are, I think they're going to have a hell of a time trying to accomplish what they're doing. Because and I played that on Manning, because you're going into people's values, into what they can and cannot believe. Now you are getting into, you're getting into something that you're going to be at the point of no return. Once you do that, I think that's where it's all gonna blow. It's gonna implode. And I think we're close to it. Anyway. Guess who's here? The definition. We lost you there. Maybe he'll come back. So yeah, but yeah, I think they are. I need to do. I want to look into. I think he's here now. But yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because even like now, I was reading the last couple of weeks now. They supposed to be all about unit, you know. Well, not them, but you having now. I was reading that they had the fact that they want white people in the back. If you're going to protest for Black Lives Matter, they want the whites all the way in the back, and they want all whites to pay a $10 reparation fee to any black of their choosing. They a Black Lives Matter organizer in Kentucky. She says that if you have homes, you are to give them to poor blacks. If you have a will, you are to will all of your everything that you got in life, will it to a poor black family. All this madness. And that as you say, that is not sustainable. Again, yes, the white man kicked it off. Yes, the white man did us dirty, but you're not gonna recoup that, black people. You're not gonna recoup that. You're not gonna fight the white man and make him give you what we are duly owed. I personally think, from a moral standpoint, yes, reparations of some type are due. Is you gonna get it? Hell no. So what black people, the only thing I can see in my view is that black people coalesce, build around blackness in some type of sustainable way, employ cooperative economics. You're not going to see it. You're not going to see it. You're not going to fight them to make you give what I think is duly owed. So salute to Snapzilla Gorilla.
Salute, brother. What's up?
Hi. All right. What have you got for us?
I think we got to take. We just got to take what belongs to us. I'm tired of asking people for shit. That's really what's the bottom line. You got. I don't need validation from white people. I don't need validation from other black people. I need none of that. So if there's something that we want, we just got to go get it. We got to go get it.
But the question really would be, Snap, would be how we go about it. I'm with you.
Well, you just do it. I mean, you get. Do you have the paper tiger obstacles, right? They're paper tigers. Even if oppression is real, it's only allowable. It's only happening because we're allowing it. What is that? So we have to stop allowing the oppression to happen to us, and that may take many forms. So if we're willing to die for our freedom, then we might just have to, a lot of people might have to perish before what we deserve is obtained. So like protesting and rioting and looting, I mean, I'm not asking these people for nothing. I don't want nothing from them. Because I can't trust them. They can say, oh yeah, I'll give you some reparations tomorrow. And then they'll give us a bag full of money with ink packs in them, blow up in our faces. So we just got to go. We got to go get it in the best means possible.
I agree.
You go buy some land, build on your land, start growing your own food, be self-sustainable, self-sufficient, and you start from there. You got to be willing to remove yourself as much from the system as possible, is allowable, and then you start to get like-minded people for it, and there, because you're not going to do it asking them for it. The system is not going to do it for you. That's the means by which they operate do not allow for any type of reparations. It's not going to happen. So we just got to take it.
That's where I am. But everything. See, this is why, like, when Snapzilla Gorilla is talking, I shut up and listen. Dude, smart. He right. Everything he said. I mean, everything he said. So,
and this is the biggest problem. The biggest problem is we're relying too much on people to do things for us, right? They're not going to do it. The Puff Daddies, the Beyoncés, the Kim Kardashians, yeah, there's some prison reform stuff going on, but you know, what about the people that aren't in prison, You see what I'm saying? What about getting us free? See, they want to free some inmates, you know, because that's a lot of people. That's a talking point for people who want to lift Trump up. Oh, well, look at all these black people he released. Okay, he released them into what? You know, we're still having all this division. We're still having all these problems. And it's because we keep looking to these exalted people that we think speak for us, and they don't. They're already elevated, right? Like the ABLs and the Brandon Tatums and the Candace Owens on both sides. Both sides. I sat up here, and this is how I know. It's not going to happen. You can't look to these people. I sat up here and listened to a panel with these guys, and I like to watch these guys because it brings you in on the mentality of a lot of people that follow them. So you had Brandon Tatum, ABL, and a couple other conservatives, the conservative guy and this guy and that guy. All these black men, they're all conservative, and they all have the same point of view, and they're in their echo chamber. So when you get in an echo chamber, you're a lot more comfortable with saying things that you wouldn't necessarily say outside of the echo chamber. And this is why I watch it. They sat up there and said, when I'm around white folks in my neighborhood, I almost feel the need to go up to them and say, I'm not like them Negroes over there. Oh, no, sir. I'm a good Negro. I ain't like them Negroes. Oh, don't put me in them. Word?
Damn.
Right? So that lets you know they don't really care. If you don't, it's like Farrakhan, right? Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. If they're not going to help you unless you become nation. If you ain't going to become nation or Scientology, they don't want nothing to do with you. They're not going to help you unless you, and that's the thing. That's the rub, right? If ABL or Brandon Tatum or Candace Owens wants to bring me on board, or if they want to elevate me, or if they want to help me out, I got to become a black conservative that thinks the exact same way as they do. So when I heard that, oh, that's a good. Oh, I'm not like them crazy Negroes down the street killing each other. Although there are many black affluent neighborhoods where people aren't killing each other, where they're successful. There's doctors, there's lawyers, all that. The only thing is they don't run the municipality. They don't run the hospitals. It's not like a full-fledged Black Wall Street where we don't own the banks like that. So, you know, even then, if you have those black affluent neighborhoods, they're still under the thumb of the government.
Yes.
So I can't look to none of these people. I can't look to none of these people to do anything other than bring people from one side to another, or, you know, join a faction, a divisive faction, where if you don't think the way we think, then you know, you ain't a real conservative, and it's just a bunch of nonsense. These people, they don't have real solutions, right? They tell you, oh, we need to stop Democrats. Oh, Democrats don't care about you, as if the Republicans. You think Mitch McConnell cares about you as a black man?
Nope.
Do you think Ted Cruz or Dan Crenshaw, who wants red flag laws all over the country, who wants the TAPS Act, you think they care about black people? So why you know? I just don't understand.
I mean, the thing that I want to say here is that, you know,
why not pull people towards freedom and towards self-sufficiency and all that other stuff? So if you're not doing that, I don't know what you're doing.
And that would be what I agree with Snapzilla Gorilla. That's anarchy. Yep. Let me determine my fate. I sink or swim based off what I do. I shouldn't have to worry about. If Snap Turtle needs me to help him, we can come together and we can help one another. Yeah. But if Snapzilla don't need me and he can push on, let him push on. Same with me. That's freedom right there. Yes. I don't bother him. He don't bother me. I don't bother the man down the street. If we need each other, we come together on some common interests. Yeah, that's all anarchy is. But what happens is the term has been bastardized and it's been made to look like you want to go and destroy, rape, rob, kill, steal. And that's just wrong.
Completely.
So that's pretty much all I want to say. I'm going to drop down because I'm going to go and eat my lunch. A pleasure always talking with Snapzilla Gorilla. Love you to pieces of Black Screen with Autumn. All right.
Thanks so much for coming on, Derek. Thank you.
All right. Peace out, Derek.
All right, y'all take care.
Okay.
Salute.
You too. Thanks so much.
Salute.
Okay. So what I want to say is that I don't agree with any level of I don't agree.
I can't hear you, Autumn.
Oh. Okay.
I think you're on mute.
Well, can you hear me now? Uh-oh. It shouldn't be on mute. Can you guys hear me in the stream?
I can't hear you.
I can hear you. Let's see. Can you guys hear me in the stream?
I hear no evil.
Let's see. See. Can you guys hear me in the stream?
Can I hear you in the chat?
I'm asking. Hold on. I think they can hear me in the stream. I just can't. See, I can hear you, but can you hear me now? No, you still. I mean, I can hear you.
Me?
I think it's you. I think it's you. Okay. Can you guys still hear me in the stream? I'm not sure what happened there. Hello? Can you guys hear me in the stream? Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I still didn't get a response from anybody in the stream. I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, but my thing is my point is that I don't think, that the racial divide is the strongest tool that's out there, and they're going to use that.
Absolutely.
They're going to use Black people because they know what makes Black people tick, and they'll put all these people in front to lead Black people down the chute.
Absolutely.
I really believe that is the end goal. I don't. I'm not of the faction, or I don't care for any division. I can recognize that. I can recognize decadence. I can recognize mistakes, but I can also forgive people and move on from that. But this is something different that's going on here. It's very different. I don't think we've ever seen anything like this before. And I don't think this is the last of it. I mean, I don't think anybody's perfect, no. But I don't think that I don't on this platform, I don't want anybody to feel that I am, dividing them or impugning them or alienating them on these topics. But we have to talk about them. But I'm saying that we're on the path to destruction.
Absolutely, we are.
And they're going to tear it down. My thing about this, if this country goes down, we're all going down. If everything goes down, we all go down. So what do? We're not getting, it's disappointing. We're not getting any answers. We're not even getting anybody talking about it. You guys mentioned the Republicans, the Democrats. None of these people are really, most of them are not really talking about it.
No,
because they don't want to be like, this person doesn't want to be called a racist. This person doesn't want to be, if you don't repeat after me, Black Lives Matters, then you're a racist. You see what I'm saying? It's either all or nothing with them.
That's a fact.
But I'm not going to go out there. I'm not going to go out here and wear a t-shirt that says Black Lives Matters. I'm not going to go out here and buy a mask that says Black Lives Matters. I'm not going to do that. But if I say all lives matter, if I say that 3-year-old's life mattered in Chicago this past weekend, then there's something that I'm wrong. then there's something wrong with me for saying that.
No, you're not. You're not. The problem is that they call it Black Lives Matter. That's the problem. And I understand I understand why they would think that because of the disparities. But when you talk about, because it came about because of police brutality, right? It came about because of police interactions with people in general. Well, they saw it as police interactions with black people are a lot worse than other races. So they attached Black Lives Matter to it, when really it should be accountability matters, right? When the police do something wrong, they need to be held accountable no matter what race they did it to. So when you start going off into this race, that race, oh, Black Lives Matter, then you start to lose half the people that could have been listening to you. You know, if you say Black Lives Matter, then white folks are going to feel excluded, or even Hispanics or whoever else. They're going to feel like you're saying that your lives are more important, but they're not getting that you're saying Black Lives Matter because Black lives are being more affected by police abuse and police brutality. They don't see it that way. They see it as you're just saying, oh, Black Lives Matter, that's the only lives we care about. So we have to be careful with the wording, even though it's just words. When you start using certain wording, it starts to take shape and manifest in different ways. Like it turned, Black Lives Matter turned into this whole big old thing that's funded by George Soros. So what, isn't he Greek or something?
Yeah, I think he are either Hungarian or Greek. But you know, to think about, but he doesn't care. He's just using these people.
Yeah. So in the same manner, see, if we recognize that one side is being divisive, then we can't go ahead and be divisive in return. You know, we can't. We have to start thinking about how everybody's affected by a certain thing, and then we can break it down from there. If we help everybody understand that we're oppressed, everyone's oppressed. If you're not in one of the elite cabal, everyone's oppressed. Help everyone understand that, then you can go from there, right? Because now, what are you going to do? You're going to push. So if there's a problem with police brutality across the board in general, but you make it about Black lives, then you're going to have the other groups of people uplifting the police just to spite, you know, instead of they're gonna support the police even when they shouldn't be supported. They shouldn't be elevated or exalted. So now you got this Blue Lives Matter thing, and there's no such thing as a blue life, right? Are we talking about a Smurf? What are we talking about here? So if we're talking about Blue Lives Matter, now we're starting to go into too many different directions where nothing's going to get accomplished. Instead of let's look at policing as a whole. Let's look at the system that gives them qualified immunity as a whole. And you have to ask yourself one question. Why would the police need qualified immunity?
That's a good question.
Why do they need?
But they've had it. But they've had it for a long time, right?
Yeah, they've had it for. But why do they need qualified immunity? Because qualified immunity protects them from violating our rights and getting away. And not, they can violate our rights under the color of law and get away with it. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, purple, orange. Because white folks get their rights violated by cops, Hispanics, blacks, whatever. I think I heard somewhere that, I don't know, I don't really trust these government statistics that come out, but that white folks are killed more often by police than black people. But then you have to look at all the nuances and the variables involved in that, right? So you have to ask, well, are white folks more, do they resist arrest more? Or do they attack the police more? So these are things we have to ask ourselves. But at the end of the day, if we have a problem with the system, it's a problem for everyone.
Yes.
So
yeah, I can see that. Well, you're right. I mean, I think, you know, the I just, for if anybody wants to see any type of reform or change, this is just not going to be, this is not going to be it. It's not. It's actually going to cause more death. I think there's more death is going to come. Eventually, it's going to come. Because I think people are getting, if they're not getting what they want, how do you know they're not coming after people in their residential homes? Are they not going to start doing that?
Well, I mean, what's going to happen when the food runs out, right? When the food wars happen. So my question is this. So we had the 4th shooting or something in Jazz or whatever. Right? So we're talking about, yeah, you're right. Like, there's going to be more death unless we figure something out. And that's why you have to look at the people that are saying that they want to completely dismantle or get rid of the police altogether without presenting a plan on how to do that properly. So now they have this idea, let's just abolish the police. Let's just dismantle the police outright. And this is what this is going to do to affect the police officers out there. They're going to not want to come to work. They're not going to do this. And then, of course, it's going to be chaos. I think they deliberately are bringing this up so that so that this very thing can happen. They know that if they pull the police out completely, they know that people are going to commit crimes on a higher level, right? And
yeah,
for me, so they said that in Chicago, 18 people died in one day, and then this past weekend was the deadliest weekend in Chicago, but the police haven't been disbanded yet. So that's how people argue why we need you can't disband the police. Look what happened in Chicago. Well, they had the police. It happened anyway. It happened with the 18 in one day. The police were still in place. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, if you just take away the police, right? So you're not going to stop. Okay, so the police is not going to stop crimes, right? They don't stop crimes.
They can't. I think it's impossible.
They might actually prevent crimes every now and then, but as on the whole, they're not going to stop crimes. What they're going to do is they spread the crimes out, right? Instead of there being a high concentration of crime in a period of time, it's just going to be spread out. So let's say I plan on robbing a liquor store, right? And just hypothetically, don't be sending the police. If I plan to rob a liquor store and I see a cop and I'm getting ready to walk in the liquor store and then a cop comes around the corner and goes in the liquor store too, I'm not going to commit that crime, right? If I'm smart. But I will come back later when that cop is going. So you're not stopping crime. Basically, you're just delaying the crime and you're making it more spread out. So it looks like cops are actually deterring crime. They're not. They're just delaying crime. You see what I'm saying? Because, I mean, look, in the 80s, in California and LA, all the gang violence and all that stuff, cops were around. And boom, there was so many killings in LA that it's ridiculous. It's, to this day, I mean, look at Baltimore, Chicago, parts of New York. Cops still exist. They're still there, but all these murders still occur. See what I'm saying? So the idea that, they deter crime, no. But what basically what they're doing is it's a less concentration, is what I'm saying. But if you look at smaller towns or rural areas, or not even rural areas, like you look at towns where they have the right to keep and bear arms, they can open carry, conceal carry, you're not going to have as much crime. That's what deters crime, is if the victim has a means to defend themselves. That's probably going to deter the criminal. If they know that I'm carrying, or that's a deterrent. Not not in the city of what was it? How many people in LA? 10 million or so?
4 million, I believe. 4
million people. How many people in LA of those 4 million can actually open carry?
Probably not. I wouldn't even say 50%.
Zero. cops open carry because they're cops. It's on their hips. So the small number of police officers that are in LA are the only ones that can open carry. Even if you have a permit, you can only conceal carry. Good luck getting a concealed carry permit in LA County, though. So that's where the problem is. The problem is there are very few people to defend against crimes from criminals who have weapons. You think these criminals, they can get a weapon just like that? If I wanted to commit a crime, a 10-day wait period is not going to stop me. I can go to the street and get a $200 pistol and commit my crime without a wait period, without serial numbers, without any paperwork to fill out. So I don't know, man.
Okay, I have a comment here from Hi Mommy Toad. Nice to see you in here. I'm so glad you're here. She says, no country is as good as America. Take it from me. As a person from Africa, our government does not care. Mommy Toad, what would you mind telling me where are you in Africa? Yeah, I heard a comment the other night from somebody saying that, I'm not sure, maybe it was it Ahmaud Arbery or from somebody made a comment that they had contacted, like, I don't know, what is it? Somehow they had contacted Africa and said that Africa was watching us. And I'm just thinking, what do you mean Africa's watching America? I'm just thinking, well, I mean, like, they were like, it was almost like kind of a UN. I'm like, are you talking about the UN? Or, because I'm just thinking, if Africa was speaking out against humanities, then they would have done something like decades ago, right? If they were watching, if they were coveting, concerned about, Africans or descendants of Africans, wouldn't they have spoken out about what was happening, 100 centuries ago?
Or even now with China.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Why aren't they speaking up about those things? I mean, and then Derek has a comment for Mommy Toe. She's from Liberia.
Okay.
Liberia.
Mommy Toe, I don't think we need police. I just agree wholeheartedly with you.
So let's see. Derek says, Mommy Toe, true indeed, did a video about Zambia mayor strength. He had to kneel before China. Follow-up video forthcoming. Ooh, excellent. I need to find that video. But yeah, I'm just thinking, it's just bizarre, like I've heard a lot of these, I don't know, like some of these people that are the Pan-Africanists. Are you familiar with Umar, Dr. Umar?
Yes.
Yes, I've heard him say, like, he has very, very strong opinions, but I'm just thinking, he's when he's referring to Pan-Africanism, he's referring to all Africans, or if we're all not liberated, or if we're all not brought to, justice, then, if we don't receive what's due to African people overall around the world, then it's a loss for us all. But I'm just thinking, but it goes back to this. If Africa was really, if they really had a voice or was concerned about their people, like, they had centuries to do something, right? They had centuries to fight back. I mean, because I just think that there's just a lot, there's myth, there's a lot about a lot of things that don't quite add up in the history, in the path of all of this stuff. I'm not a Pan-Africanist by any stretch.
This is the thing about that. Everybody wants freedom for their people group. You're not going to get freedom from one people group, and then everybody else is oppressed. You can't have freedom for one people group and knowing that everybody has to be free for anybody else to be free. First of all, everyone has to recognize that they're not free. And the way that I say it, the way that I determine if you're free or not, is asking this question. Can I go anywhere in this country where there's unoccupied land, start to build, just start building there without. Can I do that? Can I build my home? Can I build my land? Can I build my farm, my ranch, whatever I want to do? Dig my well and just live in my own business without government interference.
No.
I had permits to build the house. I'd have to submit plans for. First of all, I had to buy the house from the federal government, because the federal government owns a lot of land that's unoccupied that could be occupied, and you could grow food and all. So you had to buy the land, not even just from the government, but from whoever you got to buy it from. You got to buy the land. You got to get a permit for this, a permit for that. You got to connect to the grid. You got to be under their. Now you got to be part of their police jurisdiction and all this other stuff. If I can't do that, then if no one can do that, they're not free. They're not free. If I have to get permission to fish, if I have to get permission to hunt, if I have to get permission to do this, do that, do that, do this, do that, if I had to get permission to carry, if I have to get a permission to do whatever I want to do, then you're not free. You do need a permit to go fishing, right? Can I go fishing in the ocean without a permit?
No.
Who owns the ocean?
Well, I would imagine that it's fallen under either it's fallen under either your city, or you're falling under somebody's government is what you're falling under.
You can't claim ownership over the ocean.
Well,
but that's what they've done.
But
So
they do. But they do. Like people in the state of California, they say you pay for sunshine. Well, you say, whose sunshine is it? Did you create the sun and the shine?
Yeah.
No, you didn't. But you're gonna. But that doesn't stop you from having to pay more for that rent, or more for those property taxes. You still have to pay. You know.
Why am I spending $600,000 on a 3-bedroom house with 1,800 square feet? If I'm paying, why am I giving the city or the state property taxes when I just bought? I'm buying this. So if you have to pay, this is what I'm talking about. You have the illusion of freedom because you're not locked up in chains and you're not getting whipped every day. There are different levels of slavery, and this is probably worse than the slavery we had back then, because people don't even recognize that they're enslaved. They think that, oh, well, I don't have the chains and I'm not working for free, then I must not be a slave. But you are, because at any moment they can snap a finger. Wait, you need 2 fingers to snap, right? Yeah. Snap their fingers and they can shut all that down. And that's why every time we have a new president, there's one more inch we give of freedom, right? What happened under Bush? We had the Patriot Act, right? Obama, he kept the Patriot Act going, and now we have the TAPS Act waiting in the wings. But really, what they're doing is they're doing it state by state with these red flag laws. So you got red flag law here, red flag law there. These are more infringements on our law, on our rights, right?
Yes.
So
yes, I agree. How
are we free? How are we free when a neighbor who doesn't like that our dog pissed in their yard one day knows that we own a firearm? They can be malicious and say, "Oh, well, this guy, he's a nut. He's waving his gun around in his house. He's threatening his children," even though none of that happened. And then the police show up to your house and you're like, "What the heck are you talking about?" And then what? You end up dying or something because you don't want to give up your rights, right? Just like the guy in Washington, D.C. As soon as they initiated that red flag law, what happened? They went to his niece, got pissed at him at a party, and called the police on him. He didn't do anything wrong but argue with his niece. And then he ends up getting killed because he said, "I'm not giving nothing up." If you think even after that you're free, then that's where the problem is. You're only oppressed if you allow them to oppress you. And we're allowing them to oppress us because we're being delusional. Like That's not freedom.
So I mean, I mean, I understand. I mean, you know, I can see the lack of, you know, I can see conditions being in the amount of conditions that we can find in many instances, but I do think that we are. I do think that we are dangerously close to losing what we do have. I mean,
that we do have.
Yes, I think. I mean, like I said, a temporary. I mean, they gave us a temporary taste. What of communism or socialism? Just with these masks, they've done that.
And how much were we free enough to say, "Screw you, I'm not wearing a mask," or "Screw you, I'm keeping my business open"? No.
No, you could, but you'd be less free because you go to jail if you did say that.
So either you're in a jail of your house where you're a little bit more comfortable, or you can be in an uncomfortable jail. So prison is a social construct. It's your mind can create a prison. If they tell you got a curfew, if they tell you this, they tell you that. Like what? That's not freedom. Like, we don't want you to get sick, so put on a mask and you know, social distance, and you got to shut your business down. No, I mean, allow people to keep their business open, give them guidelines, tell them, okay, we don't suggest you do this. These are the guidelines. These are the dangers of COVID-19 and contracting it, and blah, blah, blah. And allow people make their own decisions. If they want to go to the business, if they want to keep their business open and maybe risk being sued, I don't know. That's their choice, you know. And if old people are worried about getting sick and dying from COVID-19, then they can stay home and stay away from their grandchildren and their children for a little bit, you know, let it pass. So, I mean, no, they just demonstrated how free we're not with this COVID-19 stuff. They completely, you know, that's what they did. And, you know, these people that think that Trump is your savior, he had the perfect opportunity to shut all that down with an executive order or whatever the hell he wanted to do. But he didn't. He listened to a snaky little doctor, you know, and I don't know. It's just, you're not free if they can do that. If they can shut you down, if they can shut their whole city down, if they can shut the whole state down, they can put you on lockdown and make you stay in the house when you didn't do anything wrong, right? We didn't create COVID-19. We didn't bring that over here.
No.
So if
I mean, I'm only submitting that, you know, this is far from over. This is far. No. I mean, like people keep. I mean, I'm you know, for me, it's frustrating to keep seeing all these ads and all these people. Oh, so and so's running for this or so and so. But you guys aren't doing anything right now. Many of you are not doing anything in the position that you're in.
Exactly. And what is they doing?
And a lot of them are talking out of both sides of their mouths. They say one thing, but then they go and do another.
That's what they do. That's what they do. They're politicians. Their job is to speak with a forked tongue, because that's that. I mean, they're there to bring about the illusion of choice when there really is no choice. Now, you know what they want to do? They want to spend $1.5 trillion on infrastructure, right? So,
and what type of infrastructure specifically? Like
transportation, bridges, this, that, the third, and 5G.
So that's what I'm saying. Are you talking in technological infrastructure? Because that's an infrastructure too.
Yeah, no, 5G and everything else. They want to put $1.5 trillion on that. But the other stimulus package, they want to get the infrastructure stimulus package done by the end of this month, right? Before July 4th. But the other stimulus package that will go to helping small businesses, that will go to helping the people, they want to wait weeks and weeks and weeks for that. So they're telling you what's the priority to them. They're giving you their priorities. Oh, you know, the stimulus for the people, they can wait a little bit longer.
Well,
Even
I
though
think
people,
the first one. I think the first one was the first two. The first package was the money never got. That I think that was fraud. This is, to me, this is a big catalyst for fraud. Fraud. They're frauding and stealing money in the
from
name of helping the American people or helping small businesses. There are people that didn't get anything from
and
that last stimulus.
you got huge corporations getting that loan. And that's
Yes,
what I was
they got their money. I think they got their money first.
Why do you think they don't want to release the information on who received the PPP loan?
Because they don't want the truth about it to come out, and
writing an executive order to have that released. Why isn't he ordering that information be released?
Now that I don't know. I have many questions, and all I see is, it's a dangerous place. It's a tough space that we're in, and I just don't know. I don't know. We're being distracted by all these other things, by all these, even BLM is a distraction. These corporations, the distraction.
All this other stuff. No, I definitely get it, but I mean, they don't really care about helping the people. So what the infrastructure is going to do, the infrastructure bill, is going to put money in the pockets of contractors. These big corporations that already got money, they're going to get more money. You understand? And so when it comes to the people have to wait. And at first I was like, you know what? I don't want their money, because where is it coming from?
Yeah, I really didn't want it because I didn't want them saying, okay, well, next.
But it's coming from us.
Yeah. I don't want them saying, okay, now this is going to come out of your income tax or something,
Out of our pocket. Infrastructure bill money is going to come out of our pocket, and so is the forced stimulus. So you know what? Now I'm like, yeah, give me my money, run me my money, because you took my money to pay these corporations how many times over? They did it in 2008. They did it they doing it now. They've been doing it since 1913. Bailing out banks, bailing out big corporations with our money, and they send us little $1,000 checks. No, it needs to be the opposite way around. If you're going to shut down, if you're going to force us to be unemployed to no fault of our own, then we do deserve a stimulus check. Stop putting money everywhere else, though. Stop putting money in. What do we need 5G for? How's 5G going to stop COVID-19? What is 5G doing but causing health problems? But what's wrong? 4G works perfectly fine. I got 4G on my phone. It works. It's super fast. Why I need things to be faster? So we're gonna spend $500 billion, they said, on 5G.
That's a lot.
You know what? Yeah, I know they want to create jobs. Oh, the infrastructure bill is going to create jobs. These contractors are going to do a lot of hiring. Okay, that's fine. But why? Why do we need that right now? We need to. What you need to be
right
doing
now.
You know who needs $500 billion? The small businesses that were forced to shut down. Getting them an injection of cash so they can open their business back up and get back up and running. And don't make it alone. Why are you making it alone? And I heard the PPP loan is forgiven if you pay your employees, but you still have to pay it back. And there's so many restrictions and so many ways you can pay. And it's like, why are we putting all these restrictions on the small businesses that are keeping their employees paid? It's just not making sense. None of this is making sense in the standpoint of freedom.
Yeah, it's not. It's just. I mean, I think it's because there's so many things going on. You can tend to lose sight of like what's really important right now. And I do think that I don't think that 5G is a priority. But I'm like I said, I've gotten. Yeah, it's just way too much stuff happening. But I really appreciate you for coming on. And
thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on, and we're going to close out with we're going to close out with the Sean King calling for the yanking down of. It's just, I mean, it almost just made it. That's so it's disrespectful, you know. I mean, the way that they even frame it up, you know, taking down Jesus, his mother, and his friends, and you know,
it's just a waste. It's a waste. Like,
and all the hate crimes that, you know, these hate. Now we're back to that. It's like we're on a cycle. We're on a cycle. Okay, we're gonna do hate crimes to the end of the hate crimes till November, or is this really going to affect? I mean, honestly, it's exhausting. It's exhausting.
Ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, there's so much more important things we can be putting our energy into. That I just don't get it. I don't get it.
But yeah, but I appreciate it, and yeah, we'll be around, and I'm gonna finish up with this next segment.
All righty then.
All right, thanks so much, Snapzilla.
All right, bye.
Bye. Shout out to the Definition of Anarchy, Snapzilla Gorilla. Thank you so much for everybody that's in the stream right now. Thanks so much to Derek C. Williams for coming on. I just, you know, you know, you can't, it's like we can't deal with the things that need to be going on. It's, you know, it's just not getting done. The kind of, I mean, it's like dead silence on many fronts, you know. You got all these, it's just fraudulent culture going on. So here, I'll go ahead and pick up with that. But thanks so much for coming on, Snapzilla, the Definition of Anarchy. Definition is a loyal member here. So I'm going to go ahead and take you to the final segment, and I will leave it open in case anybody else wants to come up on this segment, but I will take you there. Shout out to Crazy Chick Sheena. Yeah, that guy, Sean King, you know, it's like these people are acculturation frauds. You know, from what I understand, Sean King is not black. Not saying that he cannot, but if he has an issue with Jesus, why don't he go out and deal with his issues with Jesus and his mother and his friends? You deal with it, but you don't have the right or the moral authority to tell everybody else what they can and cannot, what can and cannot be represented. You can't do that. I just think he's going to get a lot more. He's going to end up with he's not going to win that one. Okay. I don't care how radical or how these people think what they think they have, but he's going to have a fight on his hands. So with that said, you know, as I've said before, you know, there's times on this, there will be times, because this is it's an inflammatory time. And it would be nice if, you know, if we didn't get lost in so much, but you know, it's affecting it's going to affect our daily lives, our cultural lives, how we interact with each other. If you choose to worship, whether you're religious or not, what you do, what you can have in front of your church and your church space. I just don't think these people they don't have the right to make any decisions on other people's lives. They cannot do that. And I don't think they're going to be successful with it. So I'm just going to keep going here. Shout out to everybody in the stream. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you to a clip here. We actually have two things. Maybe I want to change the dynamic here just a bit. Let's take a look at, let's switch a little bit. I wanted to go right into Sean King, but let's just do it and get it done. All right. So we have, and I'm going to show you some imagery and whatnot. We're going to use the vetted source, the TNA. on this. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me on this segment of Black Spring. I'm going to share this with you. And then also we have an expose from Project Veritas. So I thought maybe we were coming to the end of the segment of today, but I want to get the Project Veritas in. So we'll spend a little bit of time with Shaun King, and then we'll move on, because Shaun King is, I don't think he's going to be in no man's land, or he'll end up in no man's land. Okay, so what I'm going to go ahead and show you, I'm going to share with you. All right, there's no audio on this one, and I'm going to paraphrase some things so that we get through it a little bit quicker here. So this is coming from the TNA, and this was written on yesterday by Selwyn Duke. Black Lives Matter booster wants all Christian imagery destroyed if it portrays Jesus as white. All right, Christian iconography doesn't matter to Black Lives Matter booster and hard left activist Shaun King. That is, if it happens to portray Jesus and other biblical figures as white. In fact, he wants it destroyed. Obviously, it's inspired by the Cultural Revolution, claiming statues coast to coast and fearing dissent in irrelevancy. King expressed the above on Monday in 2 tweets, making news in the process. The first one reads, this is Shaun King, "Yes, I think the statues of white European they claim is Jesus should also come down. They are a form of white supremacy, always have been. In the Bible, when the family of Jesus wanted to hide and blend in, guess where they went? Egypt. He please, not Denmark. Tear them down." All right, so continuing. Then, to be sure everyone knew he was applying his, quote, Taliban rule, end quote, to all Christian iconography, he followed up with, "Yes, all murals and stained glass windows of white Jesus and his European mother and their white friends should also come down. They are a gross form of white supremacy, created as tools of oppression, racist propaganda. They should all come down." Yay. I'll keep going here. King, a left-wing journalist who co-founded the, quote, Real Justice PAC, end quote, a group aiming to help elect hard-left criminal-enabling prosecutors, is an opportunist. He has been accused of fundraising, corruption, and obviously wants attention. But since he has gotten it, and because his words can affect our cultural revolution's direction, they should be addressed. Twitter respondents were quick to do so too. Some pointed out one tweet below that it's customary for cultures, quote, to portray prominent religious figures to look like the dominant racial identity, as history.com related, quoting University of Iowa religious studies professor Robert Cargill. All right, so here they're giving some definitions here. Odd take. What do you think of the Mexican depictions of the Holy Family or others? Okay, another example. I'm not sure if you guys can see these. There is a long, beautiful history of people depicting Jesus looking familiar to their place in culture. Jesus is not about race, and saying to tear down depictions that occur in European dominant context is as racist as removing them from any culture. And yet another, which is identified as a portrayal of the Virgin Mary with baby Jesus. And someone else comes on and replies to Shaun King and says, is that Chinese supremacy? Asking for a friend. Of course, this all makes sense. We don't know Jesus' precise appearance. And to Christians, the point is not his race, but nature and purpose, that he is God and man and offers salvation for all people. As the Western portrayals, American thinker adds perspective, writing that, quote, Christian iconography as we know it developed in a white world that had no sense of Jesus and Mary as historical figures and did not traffic in race. Instead, the medieval world divided the world into religious categories, Christian, Jewish, or Muslim, and regional categories. The British region, the French region, the Spanish region, the Italian region, etc., end quote. So in reality, King and his cultural revolutionary subjects are the actual, quote, racist, end quote, here. For implicit in their prescriptions is that every group can have its culture-specific Christian iconography except whites. All right, so of course there's more from Twitter. Some on Twitter also corrected King on the Holy Family's flight to Egypt. All right, I'm going to offer one more on here. It says, dude, I have no issue with saying Jesus wasn't white, but Mary and Joseph didn't take him to Egypt to, quote, blend in, end quote. They took him there because it was out of Herod's jurisdiction. Have you tried reading the book? I think that's pretty good. That's pretty good for my take on that. So to round this one out, moreover, first century Egypt was demographically heterogeneous land that was part of the Roman Empire. Note too that it wasn't even Arab at the time. Egypt became so after the 7th century Islamic invasion. Okay, so there, of course, you got a swath of people that are coming out, and then but then to that point, they start to show that this is Sean King's actual identity. So it seems like that here again, if you have a problem with all these, it seems like this exposes you as the racist. If you have a problem with everything that relates to somebody else's race, if your problem, right, then that means you need to seek some type of counsel for it. Why are you trying to spread your beliefs and your offense? Why are you spreading that amongst everyone else? You deal with your individual problem and stop trying to tell everybody else how to think or reform how they think about what they think about their religion or their religious doctrine or the symbols of it. I mean, he is obviously he's also a paid race hustler. He figured out with a low haircut, and he figured out that he could somehow be an acculturation fraud and profit on the perception of oppression or victim or somebody else's victimhood. He needs to sell that. That's exactly what he's doing. So I will put this link in the stream, but here it looks like they're going into, he's being exposed as a bit here. So we'll continue here. It says, of course, it's true that American man on the street conception of, quote, white, end quote, relates to Caucasians of European descent. This brings us to how King is also no stranger to creative racial classification. After all, the light-complected racial activist has been accused of lying about his race for personal gain, as the Daily Mail reported in 2015. And while he, quote, identifies as, quote, black or biracial, according to Gawker, critics have mocked him as Talcum X, quote, Talcum X, have cited the pictures below to buttress their case. So, you know, they got a little bit there. I'm sure you can find that, and I guess maybe they even got a hold of his birth certificate or something, but they're showing him as a child, mother, father, brother. Probably click on this thing and it goes kablooey. Okay, so yeah, but so they gave you a little bit of context there, but I tell you, everybody's trying to get their piece off of everybody's trying to exploit this in this revolutionary Marxist attack on everything. Just going to attack everything. Nothing means nothing. Nothing. All right. It says, I can't confirm or refute King's claims aside from the picture in the lower left corner, which is him. I also can't confirm the authenticity of the above photos, but I do prefer the matter-of-fact honesty of, let's say, golfer Tiger Woods. He calls himself Casablanasian in recognition of his heritage: Caucasian, Black, American, Indian, and Asian. Wow. That's a lot to consider there. So, as for King's insistence, I believe his racial identity is just a bit too much like 1984's quote, "How many fingers am I holding up, Winston?" End quote. The bottom line is that a complaint about an allegedly swarthy Jesus being portrayed as white is most ironic coming from a white-skinned man portraying himself as black. It may seem funny, too, but what's no laughing matter is that King just further tips the Cultural Revolutionaries' hand. Their civilization, quote, innovation, end quote, was never just about toppling Confederate statues. It won't stop the Christopher Columbus or even the Founding Fathers. If they attain enough power, the white Christian iconography would surely go, to be followed by all Christian iconography. For insatiable hate burns all, and destroyers will destroy. This should be borne in mind by anyone inclined to listen to what a king of lies says about the Prince of Peace. All right, that was a colorful share there. Shout out to everybody in the stream. Crazy Chick Sheena says his evil Sean King is problematic, actually. There are churches with black Jesus and white. It doesn't matter. It's about the Holy Spirit, not race. Shout out to you, Crazy Chick Sheena. Thank you so much for coming in. And Derek C. Williams, this is Pass for Black King. Who knew? All right, so I go away from that, and I'm going to just switch gears a little bit. Come out of the race or the auspices of, it's very provocative. It's, these are very provocative discussions, and they're very provocative issues. Fake King, Derek C. Williams says colorful, pun intended. All right, so we're going to move on to, this will be the final installment here. I do apologize, but okay, so we have another clip here, which is actually going to be an interview from James O'Keefe. James O'Keefe will be exposing Facebook moderators bragging about how they delete pro-Trump content. Hope everybody's doing well in the stream. Shout out to you. Okay. I appreciate everybody for coming in on this stream. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and post this one. Give me just 1 second here. Hope everybody's well. GPS. All right. So I'm going to rewind this back just a little bit. We're only going to do a little bit of this, but this is actually, it's actually very, it's pretty revealing that you've got this faction of, you got the technocrats they're just doing their job, right? But it's still very revealing, and it just lets you know that we are pretty much playing by their rules. I call them the masters of the universe. You can call them what you like, but I think that's actually what they are, or at least that's what the way they behave. Okay. Just need to close out a couple of things here. Shout out to everybody that's in the stream. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. Let me read this. Did you see the riots in Atlanta of the Black community defending the girl who burned down? No, I did not. No, I did not. I tell you, that place is not getting any better. It's getting worse. Okay. All right, so this next clip that's coming up, it will be a bit of your expose from Project Veritas. Project Veritas seems to have broken quite a few things. So I'm going to bring you just a little bit of this. And I'll put the link out for you to see it for yourself. So this is going to be Dr. Duke from the TNA. This is their latest expose. Smoking gun evidence, political bias, of course. And this is their video. And I'm going to go ahead and put it out here for you.
It's simple as you say, be brave. I am more brave than I am scared of any trouble that anybody could give me for breaking some stupid NDA. I think the truth is more powerful than any NDA. To stick up for the voice of the people.
Yeah, Facebook's notorious for it. And they don't, but it's clear that people's content don't comes out because it's been defiltered off the queue.
It's a very progressive company who's very anti-MAGA.
If you see a conservative post, you just get rid of it. Right.
I don't give a I'll delete it.
Zach McElroy came to Project Veritas because of what he saw at his job at Facebook in Tampa, Florida. He saw and filmed evidence of structural and cultural bias inside Facebook, discriminating against Republicans and conservatives. McElroy's story raises serious doubts about the under oath testimony of Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg to Congress, where he claimed Facebook has no political bias.
What percentage of the flagged posts in the civic harassment queue, as it's called, were Republican conservative?
I saw a stark contrast between Republicans versus Democrats in that queue. I saw upwards of 75 to 80% of the posts in that queue were from Republican pages, politicians, journalists, and pages that supported the president or supported conservatives.
What does that tell you about Facebook/Cognizant's algorithm here?
Well, somebody at Facebook.
Some people on Capitol Hill have expressed interest in this ratio that you speak of. Are you willing to potentially testify under oath that 3/4 of the posts that you saw flagged were in one political direction?
To the best of my knowledge and ability, yes. To me, censorship online is one of the biggest issues facing us in the lead up to the 2020 election. Well, insofar as I was not somebody who was working behind the scenes on policy, but rather as someone who was enforcing policy, I saw everybody around me and I saw myself, and I did a little bit of comparing, and I thought, you know, there really are not very many conservatives here. And because there are not very many conservatives, I really don't think there are very many people sticking up for the voice of conservatives at a company that handles all the flow of conversations, basically a large portion of the discourse online. And we are essentially in charge of what gets said and what gets stifled.
You mentioned the election, and can talk a little bit more about your concerns as it pertains to Facebook meddling or being involved in the 2020 election.
Well, we know publicly, and as someone even before I started working there, we've seen plenty of statements from Mark Zuckerberg publicly about how they don't want to meddle in the election. They want to give everybody a free, a platform for everybody to speak freely. But we know that privately they have very different opinions, and we've seen that with the previous Facebook story that you guys published. And I had no doubt that what he said publicly is not what he means to do privately.
So let's go to the Trump cartoon, this one here. Is this something that you saw at your tenure?
Yes, I actually saw this image a lot.
Tell me about this.
Well, this is an image, I believe it's in an art museum in Portland. They put this up as a bit of a political statement, and Facebook actually reacted to this, at least internally. They gave us a memo saying that this would not violate for violence and incitement or anything else, really. And so we were told to leave this image up as long as it didn't say, oh, I'm going to actually kill Donald Trump or something like that.
So you just told us about this one where they allowed it to stay up. They think that this cartoon with Elmer Fudd has high severity violence and incitement, but this does not. How do you reconcile that as a Facebook cognizant insider?
Well, frankly, I don't. There's no difference between the two. There's no logical reason why the determined reaction to those two posts would be different. They should be the same.
This is was this something that you took a screenshot of?
Yes, it is.
Talk to me about what I'm looking at here with Don Lemon.
This was a memo given to moderators in November 2018. They made an exception for content around involving a thing that Don Lemon said on CNN around the time.
He said, it says CNN host Don Lemon recently said white men are, the biggest terror threat in this country, unquote. This is implying that white men are terrorists and so would typically violate this dehumanizing speech, they call it. As this is a
Why would they do that?
Well, it's hard to say. They would like to say that this was newsworthy, but frankly, if they say that this is newsworthy, that means that they can say anything they want is newsworthy. Well, certainly there is obviously an intention on Facebook's part to have the back of people like CNN and hosts like Don Lemon.
Also flagged in the queue were comments from unknown conservatives about Project Veritas videos.
And in this case, it was a post regarding the Project Veritas, ABC, Epstein, Amy Robach, hot mic tape. Why did the algorithm flag this at all?
I don't know why the algorithm would have flagged this. I don't know why any bot would have chosen to select Project Veritas' page on Instagram or Facebook to monitor basically.
Mm-hmm. And in this post, it appears to be a post featuring a comment made by Infidel, who is a verified Instagram political commentator, and The Typical Liberal, who's another Instagram verified commentator. And in this Infidel post, it reads, "Thankfully, there are honorable journalists like Project Veritas willing to hunt for and tell the truth. No matter what, the truth will prevail. Oh, and Epstein didn't kill himself."
Yes.
Why is this being flagged?
Well, frankly, there's no reason that this should be flagged.
Are these the only posts you saw flagged with Project Veritas, the Amy Robach tapes?
I saw that one. I think I may have seen one other one that I believe I recorded. If I didn't, then I must be mistaken. But yes, I've seen Project Veritas in that queue.
Will they flag us more after this expose comes out?
I predict they will. Let me run something by you. You know that civic harassment queue that we've been in lately?
Yeah.
Is it just me, or is it like all Republicans in there?
It's all Republicans. But a lot of it comes off the Trump's page specifically.
Yeah, because I see like a Bernie post, and then I'll see like 5 Trump posts in a row.
Yeah, it looks straight Republican related. Like, I love our president. Where are we getting this?
Steve Grimmett is a content moderator for Facebook in Austin, Texas.
It's a very progressive company who's very anti-MAGA.
I know that Facebook does have a Trump rule where they still allow him on the platform, even though he says things that if anyone else said it.
And that's the fortunate thing is, even if he does say something, if it gets repeated, we can at least get the average job. But it goes back to our discussion earlier. It's hard when you've got the top person in the country. That's his MO. But Facebook's done a lot better job of at least policing the mimickers and the mockingbirds that come after Trump.
I assume your coworkers were deleting a lot of Trump.
Nobody likes Trump in this site.
You don't leave any go, do you? Like, if you see a conservative post, you just get rid of it. Right.
I don't give no I'll delete it.
Good.
And they'll get salty. It's mostly
like even if it's not, even if it's in policy, like you're deleting that, right?
Yeah, I don't give no It's like 1 week left. What are they gonna do? Like,
right.
Send me to OIP? I don't give
You told me that you just whack all the conservative posts and just gone, right?
No, honestly, like every time, like half the time when I delete people for like pro Trump, you should be on a watch list, dude.
Yeah. Seriously.
Trump supporters like to throw around like Trump derangement syndrome as like, liberals being crazy. I like to think of it as actually you're the one that has Trump derangement syndrome. Yeah, you're losing your goddamn mind as soon as, because they're just like, oh, Trump 2020. Yeah. And it's like, that sounds a little more deranged to me when you end every argument than that.
Like even like hashtag MAGA or hashtag MAGA 2020.
It's political, stays up.
Yeah, but not for you.
No. Oh no.
Deleted.
Yeah.
So it's like delete any like positive Trump supporter stuff. But if it makes him look bad,
You had to take it down, but I leave it up.
you leave it up.
So if you see something that's not supposed to be up, it's probably me.
So you deleted just hashtag MAGA, like the post gone.
It's common sense.
Who else is like you? Like in the office, who else that proactively deletes?
Well, I hang out with a lot of people because they'll come up to me and they'll be like, "Post me," and then when I do, it's like, you set yourself up. But there's Marcella. I hang out a lot with her. There's like other Asian guys that I hang out with. Kevin, who's like the midget that I harass about his height. And then there's like Truck, Gabe, Cassie, Jen. Yeah, Dante, Skylar, Shania.
Those are all like the resistors.
The people that I hang out with.
Yeah, and they all do the same thing as you, content moderator. How many of you are they take your own stance and say we're just deleting whatever all the Trump posts?
There's only probably like 16 of us.
And you guys, like, you just delete everyone. Yeah. So
16 in the morning.
I don't believe in pushing the left agenda.
Yeah, and that's what things.
How?
By allowing a lot of stuff that are very far left to be still on the platform. Like, for example, like racial stuff.
Okay.
You could call me white trash based on me being white, but I can't. But if you say Asian trash, black trash, brown trash, we got to delete stuff like that.
Right.
So they're very, they'll allow certain things, but not for others where you would think something could be. And so that's just, one example. And they're very like politically.
Yeah.
It's like you could say anything you want except kill for someone on the right.
Okay.
But if it's someone on the left and it's about their race, that's up in like, governmental things, you have to take that down for hate speech.
Yeah, and then she has a MAGA hat on or something. You'll delete all of them. Yeah. I would so do that though. If someone wears a MAGA hat, I'm gonna delete it for terrorism. Yeah. You just have to like go hard that day. It's just like get into work early. like I'm on a mission. Like make up for the last year. Oh really?
But if they attack like Bernie or something, maybe I'll take that. Yeah, I can take that.
Like what
Like
type
if
of
they
attack?
say like Bernie is this and this and he doesn't believe in that and he's just like this or whatever, I'll just take it down.
It's like, think about the amount of impact that you could have if you remove those types of posts.
Yeah. I mean, like they like once
the hateful.
Yeah. I'd rather remove Trump posts than Bernie posts though, because I feel like people just say, "Oh, I don't like Bernie," or Bernie's are communists. Like, I don't know if that would impact anything, but if a Trump post was to come up and it was promoting Trump and I could take that down, then I feel like that would be good.
The actions of the content moderators may not be conclusive evidence of structural bias at Facebook, but it certainly speaks to the anti-conservative culture that McElroy says is pervasive.
Well, it's very simple. You've got a formula. You've got a workplace full of mostly liberal-leaning Democrats, leftists, essentially, and they are being put in charge of moderating the entire public discourse. Facebook and Instagram are very large platforms, one of the biggest. And our voices are in the hands of people who are almost entirely left-leaning and not right-leaning or otherwise unbiased. And in speaking with a lot of them, I found that they are not at all shy to exercise their political will in deleting or leaving up content, whether or not they're allowed to, or whether or not they'll get penalized for it, especially when they've got nothing to lose. That is to say, they're getting laid off.
That's hard. Yeah. What if I know? I come up with some good ass excuse sometimes where they like let me slide.
No one cares. No one cares. They're just deleting everything they want. I know a lot of people, you know, always going back to politics, but hey, fighting the good fight. I know a lot of people are taking down, you know, Trump posts.
Oh yeah, I knew that too. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna hold you accountable for taking it down. We have like 30 minutes left. I'm like, what do you want me to do?
It's for the better.
Yeah, hell yeah. You gotta get the Cheeto out of office.
I'm thinking, delete like every Donald Trump post I see on the timeline.
Oh, okay, I thought I was the only one.
Why not?
You think?
Why not? See, this is the main thing.
I thought I was the only one doing it. Okay.
You're doing it?
I thought I was the only one doing it.
But I'll be here.
I just feel
Spite.
revenge for all the.
I mean, what you think they gonna audit you?
Who knows? I don't know, but I just feel like I'm doing something.
The problem, I think, again, it's globally, they want part of them in this picture, in this global picture. Therefore, Christians are always, you can't believe how much Jesus stuff that has been attacked over and over and over again against Jesus or any type of Christianity. You can blaspheme Jesus as much as you want on Facebook. But if you go against somebody that's wearing one of those Islamic hats and thinking that they're going to blow themselves up, well, that's hate speech. But if there's anything over here and in name of Christian, like, shares a Bible verse or just, says this, that may appear to go against homosexuality, well, that's hate speech. That's, this and that. That's not allowed.
It's pretty clear that Facebook has a political agenda. And it's also clear that if you're not in line with that, you're less likely to be heard.
Do you think if it was like a pro-Trump whistleblower that like they would protect him to the same level? No, right?
I think they're very biased with who they protect.
At a certain extent, like the bias. Like you've seen the Twitter shadow banning. So I wonder if you've seen anything at Facebook.
Shadow bans.
Yeah.
Facebook's notorious for it, and they say they don't, but it's clear that people's content don't comes up because it's been defiltered off the queue.
Yeah.
Thanks.
That's crazy.
They're doing something, man. They're just trying to pretend like they're not.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely being done. I don't know if there's any plans to make it more, like, to make it a true shadow ban. Like, you post these things, nobody can see your, like, you're not banned, but nobody can see it.
A lot of things that we have to look out for are the dog whistles, are the I guess the content coming from places that is a haven for white nationalism.
So there's an insider watching this program and looking at what you did and working inside of whatever company they're working. Maybe it's Google, maybe it's Facebook, maybe it's, CNN. What is your message to those people who have not yet made the decision to do what you've done?
I would say you can do it too. I would say it's not as impossible as you think.
McElroy signed non-disclosure agreements when he started and ended his employment at Facebook Cognizant. Are you afraid?
I think the truth is more powerful than any NDA.
Facebook needs to be transparent about their political bias, both institutional and cultural. If you're on the inside of a big tech company and see issues that need to be exposed, come to us. We will have your back. Be brave, do something.
All right, everyone. I'd like to thank you so much for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. Now, there you go. You had this expose, and I think for me, it pretty much just confirmed all of the experiences, along with, it confirmed other, like the plural of hearsay, but then it also speaks to, it speaks to my own experiences. So, yeah, I mean, I'm curious what you guys think about it, but it's like, yeah, the whole technology or the whole technocracy bit, they are pretty compromised, and they are pretty much a part of I think they're part of the left wing or the technocrats big time. So shout out to everybody in the stream. I'm going to probably end this stream soon. So we'll start out with shout out to the rapper 10,000, Crazy Chick Sheena. Shout out to Derek C. Williams. Shout out to the Definition of Anarchy. Shout out to Chrysler Imperial H. Shout out to Mommy Toe. Thank you so much for joining us from Liberia. I really appreciate your perspectives on here during these tough and, as I said, inflammatory kinds of issues. I mean, everybody has a different opinion about race relations, their own individual experiences. I respect everybody on here. I respect your opinion, and I'm happy that you guys are able to come to this platform and able to, to share your opinions, and still realize at the end of the day that we do have a different experience, and you have your opinions and I have my opinions, and I think we all want the same things when it comes to humanity, when it comes to freedoms, when it comes to our natural rights, our human rights. We all want these things, and I think we are entitled to those things. Shout out to Gary L. Youngkees Jr. Thank you for coming in. Let's see. I'm missing someone here. Shout out to Bonnie Rose. Thank you so much for coming in today. Thank you so much, the Minister of Music, Terrence Trower. Thank you for coming in. Thanks so much for everybody that shared out the stream. Shout out to Being Marilyn Gale. I really appreciate you for coming on. And Delacta Camille, thank you so much. Merci, mon ami. I think that's maybe around it. Crazy Chick Sheena, thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate you guys. And the thing about it is like I think that the American values are under attack, and I think that once these things are lost, whether it's a First or Second Amendment right, once those things are lost, then we're done. If we fail, where do we go? I mean, big picture. But there again, you know, we get distracted. It's easy to get distracted with everything that's being thrown out. Let's see. Zuckerberg. Oh yeah, Zuckerberg. I don't know how he got out of that, but you know, money talks. I guess it still talks. But I really appreciate everybody for coming in today. And like I said, you know, we have to get, in order to get through this, we have to. I think the big picture is most important. You know, when I speak to you guys, I'm speaking to you as a concerned citizen, a concerned American, and I kind of bring everything else kind of comes after that. When I go to places, or when I've been to places on an international scale, I'm referred to as an American. And this is, I mean, it's nice to visit those places, but it's always best. It's nice to come home. It's nice to come home. Lemon Lime, thank you so much for coming in. Are you new to the stream? It's amazing how the world knows who the colored people are with woolly hair, but when that's what Christ is described in Revelations 1:13-15, they act confused, shaking my head. Thank you so much for coming in, Lemon Lime. I appreciate it. You guys, please be sure to hit the like or the unlike button for the Channelytics. It's all greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. And if there's nothing else, without further ado, I appreciate you guys for coming in, and appreciate you for sharing and your openness to listen, and your ability to have tough discussions, or hear other people's perspectives. Thank you so much for that. And that's going to pretty much wrap us up on this segment of the Summer of Dissent. And I'm still looking for more feedback on if you guys could give me more feedback on the community tab, because I think I will do at night. I'd like to do much more casual stream. And that means anything is fair game on the casual streams. So if that does come to pass, then that's what it'll be. I'll be offering something something even more casual than this. So once again, I'd like to thank everybody for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day.